Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us today on such short notice. We will now begin this press conference regarding the appointment of the chairperson, president, and vice presidents of Mitsui O.S.K. Lines Ltd. And we do have today's presenters coming into this venue. So let me introduce who will be addressing today. To your left is President Takeshi Hashimoto, Representative Director and President. To your right is President-designate Jotaro Tamura. Today's program will begin with the remarks from Hashimoto, followed by remarks from Tamura. We will then move on to a Q&A session and a photo opportunity, and we're scheduled to conclude by 4 p.m. Please note that this press conference is also being streamed online. And also, please be advised that we will accept questions only from those attending in person. With that, we will begin. First, President Hashimoto will provide an explanation. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here with us. I know this is a very busy season of the year. So we actually had a board of directors meeting in the morning today, and we approved the organizational structure for the coming years, and we would like to make an official announcement. As the press release was out, I've already gave remarks on the page, so I'm not going to be repeating, what is in my mind because it's stated already on the page. But I'd like to elaborate a little more about why I considered that this is the fitting timing for us to make such organizational changes. As you know, Blue Action 2035 is a long-term business plan. And the first 3 years of phase 1 is coming to an end. Even before that, the phase 2021 was when I actually became this president. So the first 2 years, back then, there was this rolling plan system. So it was 2 single-year business plan we formulated. And then since then, we have shifted to this more of a long-term business plan based business conduct. So that was, the background of the Blue Action 2035. And phase 1, as I said, is ending this 2026 March. And I think, this is a nice one closure we are coming to. And as you probably are aware, there were a lot of events, but our business performance, expanded significantly during my being a president, and the roles and responsibilities of a president kept expanding as our organizational group scale became larger. And then, we are coming into this phase that I cannot simply be carried out by a single person. And I just turned 68 years old. And I thought that, well, maybe this is time that I pass this pattern to a younger generation and make this an organization ready to build a future with these younger capabilities. And we have this chief executive officer, chief operating officer, chief financial officer, 3 CXOs. So this is going to be a collaborative management structure led by these CEO, COO, and then CFO. This was my strong request that the structure will be set in that way. And it's coming from the previous 5 years experience. I just realized that all these responsibilities that I was carrying out was really realistically very challenging, in terms of time and also how many people would be needed to carry out all these. So we'd like to have this executive team very strong, 3 capable members leading the whole group, and then the now president will be the head of the whole group as a part of this 3 collaborative management structure. So this CEO designate Tamura-san is a completely different person in terms of the background. He was long involved in the container business. He was long involved in overseas business. We expanded organizations, and he led these expanded teams. So I have a full trust that he will be very capable as CEO leading this expanded organization. He has a great trust in internally and externally, and he has great in personality and in great traits. So we're still in progress of uh, making an execution plan for the phase two, and then I think he's the very fitting CEO um, to be leading the group, and I will remain as a chairperson, and I will be a still directors board member, but I will be more step back. But I will do utmost to support the executive members of this group. So I would love to seek your continuous support for us to be building even bigger, greater future. Thank you very much. Right. Next, the President-designate Jotaro Tamura will deliver. Well, good afternoon. And today, following a resolution of the Board of Directors, I've been appointed to assume the position of a President and a CEO as of April 1st next year. My name is Jotaro Tamura, and I'd like to do a quick introduction of myself. I joined the former Osaka Shosen Mitsui O.S.K lines in 1991 and was appointed Executive Officer in 2022. And I'm now in my fourth year in the role at the age of 57. As Hashimoto-san kindly mentioned, for most of my career, I've been involved in managing overseas organizations, spending, so I was an overseas a person spending 18 of my 31 years with the company stationed in London and Hong Kong. And over the latter two of my 4 years as an executive officer, I have been responsible for the Asia region, commuting from Tokyo to Singapore and other Asian locations while leading local organizations. In terms of business fields, approximately 2/3 of my career has been devoted to the container shipping business, along with the involvement in the car carrier business and iron ore and raw material shipping. From 2020 onward, for 4 years, I was engaged in overall group management as a general manager and executive officer of corporate planning. In that capacity, I supported President Hashimoto and also contributed to the formulation of our current group management plan, Blue Action 2035. Other initiatives I worked on during my time in corporate planning include the 2021 revision of the corporate philosophy and a group vision, the group's values and code of conduct, as well as the subsequent formulation of the environmental vision and corporate governance policy. On the business front, these initiatives included the tender offers for Daibiru and Utoku, as well as the formulation of the cruise business strategy and the acquisition of a Mitsui Ocean Fuji. And April next year marks the start of a new 5-year period designated as a phase two in our management plan. And receiving the baton of the presidency at this milestone carries significant meaning. And I take this extremely significant responsibility very seriously. Looking back, our company posted exceptional results in 2021 and in 2022, which led to a rapid expansion of our balance sheet. In response, a key management challenge at that time was the need to redefine our medium to long-term management policy And I believe that the management plan launched in the fiscal 2023 enabled us to respond to this challenge relatively swiftly. During the 3 years designated as a phase one, we made very proactive investments to enhance the competitiveness of our core shipping business and to create additional pillars of stable earnings. And I myself have also been deeply engaged in these initiatives as the executive responsible for the Asia region. Um, the next phase two will be critically important period in which we convert the results of our large-scale investments into tangible earnings. And we will place the greatest emphasis on executing strategies across each business and each region to achieve this goal. At the same time, while maintaining a balance between financial discipline and shareholder returns, we will also focus on the next investment cycle during the phase two period. As a global company that develops a wide range of social infrastructure businesses centered on shipping, as stated in our group vision, we will further enhance our presence. We will continue to pursue value creation at a global standard. We will firmly uphold the three key strategies set out in our management plan: transformation of the business portfolio, addressing environmental challenges with a focus on vessel decarbonization, and expanding global business development through revitalization of regional organizations. In leading our global organization, I intend to fully leverage my experience to deliver concrete results. Our group operates more than 900 vessels, including dry bulk carriers, tankers, LNG carriers, chemical carriers, and car carriers, making us a truly comprehensive shipping company. We take pride in being a globally unique presence in the industry. We will further strengthen each of these areas of expertise to make them even more robust. In the container shipping business, which I continue to oversee, I will continue to actively support the management of Ocean Network Express (ONE) from our position as a shareholder. Today, as part of the new management structure, the appointments of two new executive vice presidents were announced alongside my assumption of the presidency. The three of us will serve respectively as CEO, COO, CFO, forming the core of the management team. Together, we will build a collaborative management style. So that's our thinking. Given the significantly expanded scale of our business compared to the past, collaboration with all stakeholders is essential to maximize corporate value. And this requires top management to continuously demonstrate balanced decision-making and execution based on a broad perspective and a foresight. And at the same time, the ability to foster deeper teamwork within the management team will be more important than ever. And the three of us, executives, will take on the role of leading this teamwork aspect. I sincerely would like to ask for your continued support and cooperation going forward. Thank you very much. Right, thank you very much. That was from Hashimoto and Tamura. And we will now move on to the Q&A session. As questions will only be accepted from those attending in person, online participants with the questions are asked to contact us, our corporate communications office, after the press conference. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Please state your affiliation, company name, and your name, and limit your questions to one or two per person. As very much appreciated. All right, thank you very much. This is a Kaiji Press Kusakabe, and I have two questions and one question each. to the gentleman. First to Mr. Hashimoto. So you navigated the last 5 years and you implemented various initiatives. And what is the most proud, the results that you brought? And if you have something that's, still to be accomplished, what would that be? And to Mr. Tamura, for this a new appointment, when were you approached and when were you announced, and then what came up in your mind when you first heard the news? Thank you very much for your question. I will answer my the question that came to me. When I came to become president back in 2021, from the beginning of the 2020 was the pandemic, and there were a lot of confusions in the environment. But even the last 10 years, right before the pandemic, there was this, shipping business, hard period, and we needed to do several structural reforms in that 10 years, and people's mindset as a result wasn't necessarily a growth centered mindset. It was rather reserved, and then it was a more of like a risk avoidance kind of mindset. And it was, I guess, to a certain degree necessary, but then the trend was changing. Abenomics in Japan started showing results, and then the share prices of the companies were coming up. The economy was better, but then our internal mindset or morale um, was more to do with cost reduction. And then so we weren't necessarily having this in a full spirit of expanding into new area or expanding our business to a next level. So mindset change internally was I consider to be very vital. So from defense to offense. So that was what I was strongly thinking when I became president. And then with that conviction, I rolled out various initiatives, the compensation system changes, HR system changes, and also we changed the organizational structures. So we did numerous things, and then I think that those are things, brought significant changes. Now we have really great motivation, and we do have very open discussion, valued culture, and and so that's something that I am proud of, and I think the certain results were had been achieved or have been achieved. And yes, that we do have a lot that we can grow or improve further. I might highlight two aspects. One, the last 5 years, we actually accumulated a number of investments of significant scale, and it's to grow our stable businesses. So chemical tank terminal businesses would be one type, or cruise ship business. So shipping business, FLNG, or offshore power plant generation. So these are for these investment to bring in earnings, and we need continuous effort to bring those investment into successful earning generating a form. And I think it will take a few years before these investments will start bringing in significant earnings, but um, we can't really wait 5 years. So, and then apologies, I can't really be going it for another 5 years as a president. So I thought that, this should be the timing to pass this patent to Tamina. But we expanded new business areas up until now. So I look forward to seeing the flourishment of these new businesses, but how great success they're gonna be, um, I know that, that didn't really deliver till the very end, because it still requires a few more years. And then I guess I needed to realize at a much earlier timing. But what I learned, and as we went along, was that a human capital is the vital part. And then if you create a strong team, even you have a very complicated, difficult business, you will be able to overcome it. But you need to nurture people. You need to bring it best of everybody. That's something that wouldn't happen overnight, and it requires very robust, sustainable effort. So um, training, nurturing people so that we will be able to be ready for the bigger, the future, is something that will continue to be a big challenge for our management team. But so we are already clear what are the challenges we need to tackle. And then I think the what we have left is how well we can execute. So I will stay as a member of the board. I will be supporting in every possible way for him to lead that execution part. Right. So I'd like to answer that question from my end. So when was I informed? What came up in my mind, when I heard the news that I will be the next president? Um, if we're so, so from 2021 for 3 years, and I was the head of the business planning under the leadership of Mr. Hashimoto for 3 years, from 2021. So I was involved in a daily strategic discussions. So I had a visibility of and how he was formulating these strategies. And then 2021 was the timing. Um, but that's been the where I was fortunate to be in the position of. And yes, and then that this timing was the very the official timing when I got this the succession plan. And as you would imagine, I was very surprised. But how I'm interpreting it, well, my stance has always been, if I can be of any service, any contribution, I'm willing, that I would take in any responsibility I'm trusted upon graciously. So I responded saying that, if I can be of any help and then contribution, yes, that I graciously will take this on. Any other questions, please? So we will go to the first raw of the right block, please. So this is the marine, the newspapers, Hashimoto. So this is the, sorry, to Mr. Tamura. So I might be overlapping in what I'm asking, but the challenge. So in the profile statement, there was this, the word challenge. So you've been seeing the Asia market as a leader, and you probably know so a lot of challenges needed to go through these challenging times as well. Um, as a president now, for your company to globally grow, what are the transformations you think or changes you think you will be needing to lead? Well, thank you very much for your question. Well, I might be repeating what Hashimoto-san said, but then for a long time, there was this shipping business, hard times, and then it changed, and then now it's in a very favorable environment. So what are we gonna do was a big question, but mindset wise, we weren't experiencing this favorable environment. So we needed it to create everything from scratch with a totally different mindset of going aggressive, going into new arenas. So what do we need to do? How do we need to do was all these explorative things. And it wasn't just, the Asia region that I was leading, but in every region until then, it was totally headquartered in Tokyo, being the top down and giving instructions. But we decided to change it completely But it took time for us to transition. But I think, the spending the 3 years, we managed to transform ourselves. So here onwards, it's not just going to be the challenging spirit that we're going to be exercising. We need to really bring in results, concrete results. We need to focus on how we can effectively execute what we planned or what we envisioned. So as president, yes, headquarters is going to be very important functionality, but now we're going through this, awakening period of all these regional organizations, and I would like to really make things happen with all these, regional organizations. Okay, next question it will be from the left block. Yes, thank you. So this is a Nikkei newspaper. Two questions, one for each. One question to Mr. Hashimoto. Um, It'd be great and if you can elaborate more what kind of person Tamura-san is. And a question to Mr. Tamura. You okay, so it was mentioned that your business has been diversified with a lot of an investment you did in the phase one, but in the phase two, I guess now you need to see which one would be a long-standing one, which one you need to recede. Okay, so I don't know how credible my, describing him would be, or but how I'm a good person to describe. But he, for method of things, he takes a very logical approach, break something big, down into elements, components, and he would like to be able to have this analytical eyes and be able to construct the solution mechanically or systematically. So he has very logical approach. So he has a very clear cut of a building strategies and execution plan. I think that helps him garnering trust from people. But at the same time, he's very passionate, and then it's a very um, quiet but very passionate flame at the core. And when you are a very logical, capable person, you might appear to be a someone who's like cold or Robert-like, but no, he has this passionate, this side as well. And I think, that's one of the many balances that he has at a great level. Another thing, um, the my experience of 5 years of being president, what's really critical is how well you can communicate to outside world, particularly in English. It's been more than ever important. And one, because our customers, clients, business partners are global, and we need to have this, top at the top, the top 101, and then that's really important. But it's not necessarily just that. We have so many global talents working in our group. And we have a business leaders, and we have increasing percentage of non-Japanese leaders and employees, and then you need to really motivate those colleagues. And if you can't communicate effectively, it wouldn't happen. And so not just the linguists language, the capabilities, and you need to be able to effectively influence or to garner mutual understanding in both languages. And then he can even speak Chinese. And then we do business in China, Taiwan, and also in the Southeast Asia, where we have a lot of Chinese speaking partners. So him being a great communicator in all the three languages, the English, Chinese, Japanese are really great, trait. And then I look up to him. I'm envious in a way. Okay, so I'd like to answer my question. So how are we going to be having this, select and concentration? So how, what is the approach of us getting into phase two? I guess there are two aspects, external environment related and internal environment. So, and then if we think that, something keeps having this potential to succeed, that we need to keep pushing. And external environment, from the beginning of this year, it's particularly prominent, this geopolitical risks coming about, and the global trend change towards environmental um, topics. So we'd like to really be attuned to what's happening outside the world, and fine tune and orchestrate and adjust, what we intend to do, and how we do it. And anything we do, if it's fitting it to our strength, then that should be something that we need to continue. But I'm sure, as you pointed out, that we will find that certain things are not going in the way we originally thought. So, yeah, so my answer is that we will closely monitor what's happening outside and inside of our organization, and we continue to um, make necessary decisions as we go along without really staying complacent with where we are. Okay, another question, please, from the back end on the left-hand side, please. Right, thank you very much. This is a maritime of British Japan Yamamoto. So my question is also two, one each. Mr. Hashimoto, you said that, if you don't have enough, like the gust or the energy, that you can no longer be president. I'm sure you're still full of energy, but so you're gonna now be representative director, chairperson of the board, and Tamura-san, so president. So is this the very first time for your company that, the you take this kind of a segregation and a separation of roles and responsibilities? So um, how are you going to be supporting the management team from your new position? So that's, a question to Hashimoto-san and to Mr. Tamura. So PBR is often talked about target, and then the shareholders, requirement. But if you do this equity, so 2021 to 2025, it just became as 6 times, and PBR denominator is much larger. So even, maybe it's really difficult to catch up with the scale of expanding, but the PBR is what investors continue to see. So how are you going to continue improving the PBR? Okay, so I will answer my part. So this arrangement of organization that we made it today is a little bit irregular. So directors and appointment, we can actually have this, special meetings, but normally the director's appointment has always been, the June meeting. So April, as of 1st of April, he wouldn't be a director. So he would be president, chief executive officer, but wouldn't be director until June. So for the 3 month from April to June, I would continue to be the representative director while, him being a president. So, but that's just, I think, the principally the representative director should be president, but if, because of as of 1st of April, that he wouldn't be director. So I would be, for the formality, representative director, but Tamura-san, Uemura-san, with the assumption that they will be chosen as a director, I will actually be stepping aside from this representative director, and the three gentlemen will be the representative director. So April to June will be slightly irregular. So there will be two timings of organizational changes, and then as for what's in my intention, so it might take some time, but I would like to be transitioning from the execution aspect to the board of directors leading. But during the April to June, it will be a transitioning period. So I will be handing over, I'll be passing it all this, the necessary information and duties. So that's the setup. My stamina and energy level is still high, yes, but this like a physical stamina, yes, it's becoming more challenging. I'm well, I'm not suffering from any wellness, but this year I had quite a lot of overseas trips, and it was a 1.5 times a month, and was at times very physically demanding. I had a two or three times when I thought that it was a very, very physically demanding, and it told me that maybe this is good timing. And then now we have a Tamura-san, so I'd like, Tamura-san and Umemura-san and Hamazaki-san all thriving in their responsibilities. And then just a little more, I'm sure Tamura-san will talk about this, but regarding the PBR, well, one, so would be investing at the front, although because that we need to grow in a long run for the future, and the LNG business in particular, it takes averagely 4 years to construct a vessel. So the money will go out, but then the return is going to take some time to come back. It takes at least a few years, and we can't really control that. So cash flow wise, I mean, I guess avoiding investment would make cash status position better and enrich the shareholder return. Might be one thing that we can do to make it look prettier, or just thinking how investment is going to be bringing return from day one. And for that, maybe one thing that we can do is to purchase in bonds. But so we do have ways to improve in a PBR sooner, but as a management, I think what really need to focus, emphasize, prioritize is this mid to long term business growth. So I know we do have shareholders who's seeing our performance in a long-term vision and understanding, and then our return coming from this investment are going to continue being better. Second year more than first year, third year better than second year, and then I would like to really ask a long-term vision. I mean, short-term improvement, yes, we can do share buyback, but is that really the way we go? I'm not really sure. I wouldn't agree. I don't really agree that's the way to go about. Well, it's ultimately to the next, the executive team, but okay. So I agree with, what Hashimoto-san just said. And then I guess, the one important thing is a prioritization. And well, we have it on both hands, and then we do have this current in a PBR state, and all this is set in stone investment, to be brought to a very successful state of maximizing earnings, and we would like to shorten the time for these investments to start bringing earnings. So the speed is important, and the scale is another. And But so we know that that the first priority. Try to maximize the speed and the scale, and again, executive team will continue fine tuning. Um, okay, another question. Sangyo newspaper. So geopolitical risk is what I'd like to ask a question about. So during the Hashimoto-san's period, there was this Ukraine situation, and you needed it to, well, in the possible situation in the future as well. Yeah. So we weren't expecting that Russian conflict to happen, and the Suez Canal and the U.S. The tariff port charge issue, and then this tension between the U.S. and China and the retaliatory tariffs. So we've been shaken by so many different factors. So that was how I would summarize the 5 years. But shipping businesses, the geopolitical risks are not necessarily acting negatively to our business. With the Suez, canal being blocked, that we needed to change the route, and then the demand supply situation actually got tightened, and it actually helped our improving the earnings. And so all these geopolitical situation, would it be headwind, a tailwind? Would it be long term, short term? It will be different one by one. And we need to be very agile, adjusting how we invest or how we respond. And what we did in the last 5 years, well, it's a limited in how much we could do, but well, one thing that we focused on is this intelligence gathering. So it was partly new. So we opened an office in Washington, D.C., and also Beijing to gather intel. And there's a World Economic Forum member we became. It's an annual event. And then Davos meeting is and the January in Switzerland annual, right? But WEF um is have this is summer forum and New York the meeting, and also there's this meeting in China. So there are various global conferences, and it's not just me who attended, but various directors and leadership went there, had a networking, and not just forming a stronger network within the shipping businesses, but we try to um, create this network where the various topics and intel will come swiftly to our team. And we invested quite significantly time, both time and money, to strengthen that network. And from last year, we created this new advisory board, which invites specialists and experts of various areas, and them acting as our board advisor. And so this is a mechanism which ensures us to be exposed to all these, the cutting edge or the very expertized knowledge. So it's not going to be whim decisions that we're making. It's going to be a intel, information intelligence supported decision makings that we can now have, and number of people who are working in back office is heavier as a result. So it is a burden on an expense side, and it can be quite challenging. But I think this is a very vital part that we continue to have. We need to get information, and we need to create scenarios and then hypotheses, and we need to be making it business decisions based on these mechanism. And I think we are having matured to do that now quite a bit. Okay, so one more. So the shipping business, the vessels are always moving around nation, and yes, the international policies, the trade patterns, and when changes are made, um, it's constantly changing. Anyhow, and when an investment is on land, you can't really mobilize it, but when it's like in the ocean business, sorry, I had to listen. Trend pattern can actually work for us, and then we can actually leverage changes to turn it into our opportunities, and that was what we captured these opportunities in the last 5 years. So we'd like to really see what can be turned into our opportunities, and then again be agile, but structural changes of the world is something that we can't really accommodate with that kind of stance. So with such changes, I guess we need to have this long-term vision and make our trajectory um, connected a decision. Okay, so non-shipping businesses is what you are um, doing more with some real estate businesses. How would you evaluate that? Well, Daibiru business managed to expand, this real estate business outside and inside of Japan, has 120, sorry, 100 years history. It always had various business intelligence and know-hows. So what we did was just to unleash all this potential, and they were very agile when we proposed all these investment opportunities, and as we're very grateful. So in India, London, we managed to invest in a real estate, and then a little bit of real estate, but warehouse operation is what we started in Southeast Asia, and then it's a quite wide diverse business portfolio we managed to create. So it's a quite um we're very pretty confident, proud of what we achieved, and then we do have this. Uh, Power generation business is quite a new arena for our um, company, and we are increasing our presence. But for us to nurture this business into earnings pillar, we need to be very patient, and we need to keep tackling this challenge. But and I think we need to have a long-term thinking in nurturing it. So what I would say would be incremental. So cruise ship business. Next year, Mitsui Ocean Sakura, the new cruise ship, will start, I think, 2026 September. We're super looking forward to, and would love you to feature this in the new endeavor. We're going to start with that new cruise ship. Right. Any other questions? All right, so this is a Misaki from Nihon Kaishi. And this is a question to Mr. Tamura. So longer-term Blue Action 2035 is there, and you're moving into this phase two. So you already have this direction that's set, and it's going to be a collaborative and management team approach. But how do you intend to give this Tamura way? I know that you would value this team work approach, but how would it be very unique to Tamura-san now that you will be the president? I haven't prepared anything that's very cool or dashing, but I would have this 3 month from today till the 1st of April. I would like to talk with the various people, and with Mura-san and Hamazaki-san, would like to talk a lot, and then I'd like to set, that how I will be president. But just listening to everyone's input, feedback, and just um adding them up is not going to be dynamic or agile enough. So I think it's really important that there are edges. So I will be all ears getting advices and input from everybody. But at this end of the day, I will be the one who needs to be all the responsibility. So I'd like to make a decision how I'm going to be leading as the president, before becoming one. Okay, this is going to be last one. Diamond, the company Tamura. So you said that if you just incorporate everyone's advices and then opinions, then it's not going to be blunt and it's not going to be edgy. But anything that you would like to really value, prioritize, or change as you become president? I don't have a very direct answer to that question, but as I said earlier, Blue Action first 3 years, I was the formulator, a part of this, formulation of this action, and I was assisting Mr. Hashimoto. Now we're moving into this phase 2, 5 years. I mean, it's a 13 years plan. So the basic direction, basic approach is not going to change, but the next 5 years would be the 3 years, the recent 3 years as a foundation, and we're going to calibrate how we go about with the observing what's happening inside and outside, and there will definitely be some calibrations. And so I don't have anything definitively now, but that's the stance that I have. I would like to really keep monitoring what happens around us and then be agile and calibrate as things become necessary.